Hi, Amber. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Jamie?
Good, good. We are so excited to have you here today and to be able to talk to you. I'm Jamie, and I am on the social media team at City Chic. And today we have Amber Nicole here with us, and she is a plus model and absolutely just a gem and beautiful inside and out. And she actually walked the runway in a lot of New York Fashion Week shows this past week. And so we are really, really excited to be talking to her a little bit about that. But before we do that, let's hear a little bit about your experience as a plus size model, like what you've done when you started as a plus size model, a little bit about that.
So, my mom used to model professionally for David's Bridal, Ashley Stewart,
Wow.
Kmart when I was out, Strawbridges when I was out, things like
Mm.
that.
Yeah.
So actually, I've been modeling since I was a baby with my mom, like different campaigns and stuff like that. Growing up, I didn't want to be a model because my mom was one. I wanted to be one because I love to be in front of the camera. And also, I thought that I would be the one to break barriers. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be like when I would grow up. When I was growing up, I didn't see models who looked like me, like outside,
Hmm.
things like that. And so before the Ashley Grahams and things like that, I didn't see women who looked like me. And so before them, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be the one that's gonna break barriers and be the first plus model out and blah blah blah. Of course, that didn't happen. But
I
yeah,
think it definitely did. Like you walking in New York Fashion Week is huge.
yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I've been modeling since 20, sorry, I tried to do it in 2014.
Hmm.
Um, and my mom's like, no, you need to focus on school, blah, blah, blah. So then I stopped. I was doing an unpaid internship in Chicago. I was doing Uber at the time. And one of my passengers, he was a photographer, and he was like, oh my gosh, I would love to have you as my muse. Like, I need a plus model. We would shoot around the city, and like people like honking the horn and stuff because of how great I was. Like, okay.
Yes.
But and then when I came back home, I like started up, and I was doing like shows in the basement. Like I didn't know where to start, so I was just doing any show that came across my radar, and that's kind of where it started. And yeah, from there on, got
That
signed.
Yes, that is amazing. And so you must really love what you do.
I do, and it's not just me, but I love helping other models as well. So, like my baby, his name is Blaze. He's one. He does modeling as well. He signed with both agencies that I'm signed with. My fiance, he does modeling too. Just him, like from his first photo shoot, he didn't know what to do. He was getting frustrated because he didn't know how to start and what to do, what poses to do. But now he's so comfortable. He's actually on his way home from a booking right now.
Yay. That is awesome. That's so cool. So you recently walked in a bunch of New York Fashion Week shows. So can you tell us a little bit about that and what shows you walked for and your experience with that?
Yes. So I actually was asked to walk in three shows on the Saturday that in one day. And I'm like, I can't attend all three. So I kind of had to make a decision like what I felt would be best for me exposure wise. Cause I mean, like,
Mhm.
we're the models and we're doing this to help the designers, show their clothes. But at the same time, we would like to get the exposure and a great experience.
Mhm.
Everything doesn't mean money, money, money. Sometimes it's just about the experience.
Yeah,
So I did Fashion Bond Daily, where I was one of the four plus models that were there.
that's
Um,
awesome.
I was like modeling with Lyris Cross, so that was like really exciting. And then I also did Angela De Jesus Solomon. I did her show. That was through my agent, and then I was the only plus model there.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and then the last show that I did, it was a presentation show. So that was the first time I had done a presentation where we stood for 5 hours showing off the outfits. We had to like dance and stuff to the music to work on
Ooh.
it. And that was with Sam Finger, and that was in the warehouse, and that was like pretty interesting, and also where I was the only plus model. So
Wow. So being the only plus model in some of the shows, like how did that feel? I mean, you are literally representing the plus community, which I know throughout the years, like, we were doing really good with having a lot of plus representation. And I read last year that there wasn't as much plus representation. And I haven't read yet if this year kind of we upped our game, but you are one of the few, or you were the only one in some shows. How did that feel? And what was your experience with that?
I will say in the one show where I was the one of the four plus models, I did kind of feel that was the first time I felt a little upset. And not that I'm not confident in who I am and as a woman of size, but we were one of the like last women to get, selected and things like that. They try to figure out like designers had our sizes. And I mean, the show is who picked us. So then it was like, okay, we have to find a designer that could fit the model that we picked. So it wasn't a thing where the designer picked us, blah, but then it was kind of embarrassing to try to figure out what we like what we would wear because like with me, I'm coming from out of town, so I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna come all the way here to kind of be embarrassed. One, being the last model to be selected, but then two, trying to find something that I could squeeze into or fit or wear. It was a little embarrassing, but I mean, in the end, I did enjoy the show and I loved what I ended up wearing. But I will say that's the first time that I felt that way. I was like, wow. I mean, I'm glad to be here and that they selected me, and it was a great experience. But the in between was a little shaky.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
but
very
like,
hard.
yeah, definitely. And I mean, I don't have a crazy household name to where they could be like, oh, we can bring this for Amber. We know she's gonna be there and blah blah blah. So I mean, you could kind of see that treatment too. Is like certain people were priority because of the names they had, and because I don't
Right.
have as big of a name, I wasn't necessarily a priority to be picked or things like that. So I
Yeah.
don't know. First time, like I said, I experienced that. Hopefully, I don't experience that again. But
Right.
the other shows, that being the only plus model, I feel great. Like and I mean, I will say the one thing that people may feel like that they're doing that's good is like, oh yeah, you look good. Like keep reassuring me how good I look, and it's like, well, why don't you do that for the straight size models as well?
Right.
Like, you're doing it because I'm the only plus model, and you're thinking that it makes me feel good, but really you're just doing it to look good when really it's like you don't have to do that. Over compliment me because I'm
Right.
a bigger model, you
I've
know?
experienced that myself, and you're like, it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Like, I feel good about me. Like, I feel
Right.
this. I'm happy to be here. Like, we're all on the same playing field. Like, we're good.
It's like they feel like they have to
For
overcompensate.
compensate. Yeah,
It's like I'm here, I'm present, I'm here just like you guys are. You don't have to do that. Try to make me
exactly.
already feel good. Like that's why I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. So, what does a day look like the day of the show for a New York Fashion Week runway show?
Yeah, so long days, getting there super early, getting your hair and makeup done. Sorry, Babe just came in from his booking.
Oh no.
um,
Good
Getting
job.
there super early, like I mean, yes, they try to feed you and things like that, but just making sure that you have like snacks and stuff with you, have your own water. But because there's so many people, we're basically we're all fighting for, I don't want to say fighting for food, but just making sure that you have your own stuff because there's not necessarily going to be something there left for you.
Hmm.
Long days. So yeah, you might get there at like 7 a.m. for a show that's at 7 p.m. Hair, makeup, yeah, a lot of waiting around.
Yes.
Depending on the show, trying to find a designer that can fit you.
Hmm.
Um,
And do you get a rehearsal for these, or is that the day before? Is that usually the day of?
yeah, it's usually the day of. Let's see. So for Fashion Bomb Daily, we did one run through. So that's like pretty much all you get. It's like one run through. So if it's like your first time, I will say just practice on your own, whether it's before or after the run through, because you don't get many run throughs before the show starts.
Yes.
Sam Finger, because it was a presentation, we were like up on different stages and things like that. We had like a quick like run through, whatever. But again, quick, because after that, like you got to get dressed and you have people getting ready to come. Like usually the run through is not too far. I mean, not too ahead of start time for the show.
The show.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like after that is like it's go time. And then
Yes.
once it gets like it's literally that's it. Like you're on a roll. Time to get
Yes.
started. Yeah.
And did you have any shows that were like two shows in one day or was just like one a day?
Yeah, so actually, the same day that I did Sam Finger, I did the presentation. I did Angelina, and her show was at 12 p.m. and then his show was at 6 p.m.
Wow. So you
Yeah,
were exhausted by the end of that day.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then you live out of town. So do you come
right.
in and stay there or do you drive back and forth? Because you're about 2.5 hours away from New
Yeah,
York.
yeah. So I mean, I had the choice to stay. I mean, I have friends and stuff who live out
Right.
there, but I decided not to because again, I have a baby and I'm a breastfeeding mother. And so I
Yeah.
was like, family, like, I'm just going to go home. But
Yes.
if I did have shows that were like back to back days, like if it was a Thursday and a Friday, then I probably would have stayed that way. I don't have to do the heavy commuting. But because the days were like so spread out, I was able to just come back home and then go back. So yeah,
Awesome. Wow. That's so crazy. Well,
long
you
day
must have
though.
been so exhausted.
Mhm.
So, okay, so tell us some of the trends that you saw on the runway or that you wore and that you were loving this year.
So the first designer that I walked for, it was Faya Athletics, more athletic wear. Loved her items. But I will say, again, being a plus model, I was expecting a little more because though it was athletic wear, the standard models did have like really cool things and it was like judged like even though it was just athletic wear.
Right.
But yeah, so I did enjoy the pieces. For that, it was very colorful. I love colorful pieces,
Me
like
too.
statement pieces, and
Yes.
so I did enjoy that. I do feel like this season, I don't want to say they kind of lacked that, but they kind of did. I mean, I always expect really big from New York Fashion Week, and I feel like
Yeah.
people just kind of went, okay, we're having a show. Let's see what I could put together. They didn't really like think outside of the box, if that makes
Yeah. I
sense.
saw that like a few trends that I saw were like mermaid trends, like kind of mermaidy
Yeah.
outfits.
Yeah.
And like longer skirts are really big this year. The color lime was really big. I'm trying to think
Yes.
what else. So those were a few trends that I saw that I'm like, oh, okay, I can get on board. That
Yeah.
sounds fun.
Yeah. And like sheer clothing. Like it was a lot of like see-through,
Yes.
see
Yeah, I saw that.
like
Yeah,
that.
even like sweaters where you could kind of see through and then like
Mhm.
lingerie kind of peeking through, which is kind of
Yes,
fun.
lingerie was
Lingerie
very
all
fun.
day.
Yes.
Yes.
Lingerie definitely was here this season.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us about all of this. Like, I can't wait to show everyone your pictures. You just looked stunning in all your pieces. My favorite one was the colorful outfit that you had on with the corset.
That's that was the athletic wear.
I loved it. I thought you looked amazing. Your hair was on point. Everything looked so good. So, yeah, I
One
was,
more thing I want to add. The
yeah.
overcompensating when I do walk in shows, for some reason, when I come out, everyone's like, what? The whole show could be quiet. Like the whole
Yes.
as soon as I come out as the plus model, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're like in the crowd," which makes so some of my pictures. I don't know. I didn't really get to post them, but I'm like, you know how we have that straight New York fashion week,
Uh-huh.
try to be all editorial,
Right.
and then the moment everyone's cheering, I'm like,
You can't help but
I
smile.
know, and
Yeah,
then my face is like all messed up. So
exactly.
truly, that's one thing I will say that the overcompensation comes in handy because I'm like, yes, they love me. Well,
Yes, exactly. I
yeah.
know. I also have experienced that, and it's like it feels so good because they're like rooting you on, you
Yeah.
know?
They're like,
And
go
you're
there, I see.
and you're right, it could be completely silence. And
Yeah.
then when you come in and you're plus and
Yeah.
you're like, okay, this is why I do this,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
I want other girls who are like, oh my gosh, I saw someone who looked like me. Like, I want them to feel confident and to continue doing modeling as well, you know?
exactly. Exactly. Oh, well, you are really such an inspiration. And, I got to talk with you recently on a booking, and it was just so nice to get to chat with you and get to really see who you are. So I'm so happy that you could do this with us and kind of chat about New York Fashion Week. Where can everyone follow you to kind of follow along your journey?
So you can follow me at X O_Amby. So that's Hugs and Kisses. I love Hugs and Kisses. So that's where this O comes from, and then underscore AMBEYY.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much again. We really appreciate you chatting with us.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Thank you.